Shalom Mishpacha, it's Courtney, America's Jewish Mother. Welcome back to my channel. I am here today with two tags that I was tagged in last year and neglectfully have not done, so I'm going to do them right now. So one is the BookTuber Favorites Tag. I was actually double tagged in this as far as I know. I could even be more than that, but I was at least double tagged in this by both Mark Nash and Karen Evans, so thank you both Mark and Karen for tagging me in this. This was originally created by a Bibliophile's Journey. I will link all of those people that I just mentioned down below. So let's go. The booktuber you've watched the longest. So I am only on BookTube because of Lindsay at Lindsay's Book Life. So certainly I've watched her the longest, and then probably after her, Heidi at My Reading Life and Brian at Bookish are probably the people that I've watched the longest. Number two, booktuber you just started watching. So I have not been subscribed for very long to Sage Reads. I also have not been subscribed for very long to Barb at the Font. She is a very funny Australian lady. I also booktubers who've literally started like in the past weeks. Their channels aren't even a month old yet, are Daniel at Guilty Feet and Melissa Furman. So I will link all of those folks down below. Booktuber you became friends with or met. So since I just started doing BookTube in May and we're all still in this pandemic situation, I have not met any booktubers in real life except for Lindsay, who I knew previously from graduate school. So we were in real life friends before either she or I started BookTube. So she's the only booktuber that I'm, I would say I'm like actually friends with and have met, person to person. But I have, in the time that I have been on BookTube, become friendly with quite a lot of booktubers. So I hope that when we're at some point post-pandemic in the nebulous future in which that will occur, that I can meet some of y'all in person. That would be great. Question 4, booktuber you get most of your book recommendations from. So I feel like I take a little something from most of the channels that I watch, honestly. I really still have yet to identify which booktuber I follow has the taste that's most similar to my own. So if you think that you and I have very similar reading tastes, please let me know down in the comments below, because apparently I'm terrible at figuring this out. Question 5, booktuber you watch who reads a genre that you don't. So I have a couple people here, and mostly people who read nonfiction. Now, I do read nonfiction myself, but I wanted to mention Brianna's library. So Brianna reads majority nonfiction from a Marxist and or Black radical perspective, which I find quite interesting. Alba at Seriella has also introduced me to a number of nonfiction books that I would not otherwise have heard of, especially biography. And I would say the same thing of Heidi at My Reading Life. All of those folks just read a lot more nonfiction and in a lot of other genres of nonfiction than what I typically read. Number 6, booktuber whose videos make you happy. Well, again, I have to mention Lindsay at Lindsay's Book Life, because I watch her videos and I'm just like, that's my friend. So it makes me happy. I also have to say Doris at All Do Books. Anytime she puts up a vlog, I am right there watching that. So those definitely make me happy. And also Hannah at Hannah's Books. Her videos make me happy because I know that when I watch them, whatever she's going to say in the video will be nuanced and well thought out and well articulated. So I appreciate that about her. Number 7, booktuber you'd love to do a buddy read with. Brian at Bookish and Roz at Scallydandling about the books. So I have so far done buddy reads with Lindsay, with Greg of Supposedly Fun, and Raina at Rainier Books. I am currently doing buddy reads with Melissa of Fully Booked and Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading. And I have a number of other buddy reads scheduled this year. It's getting a little out of hand, actually, but including Jen at Remembered Reads, Karen Evans, Beth Ann Bruning at Sokolar, Jenny at What's Bookin', Kim at Middle of the Book March, Grace at GE Reads. Lindsay at Lindsay's Book Life, of course. Oh, and Mark Nash and I are potentially going to do a buddy read, maybe, if he can fit this book into his schedule in the second half of the year. So I think that's everyone for now. But yes, I went really hard on the buddy reads this year. Question 8. BookTuber with under 1,000 subscribers that you love. So Paula at Draw Your Book gives such good and detailed reviews of books. I feel like a lot of us, and I would include myself in this, when we talk about a book, especially a novel, we just kind of tend to say about it not all that much more than what is on the blurb on the back of the book. But, you know, Paula will give you more details, not to the level of being spoilery or anything, but it's just that she will point out things that I think the rest of us don't often point out, and they're things that are useful, I think, in helping you decide whether or not a book might be right for you. And then the other person I'm going to mention here is Heather at Soggy Expat Book Nerd, who just had the best, most pure Vlogmas videos. God, they were amazing. I just look forward to them every day. They were really great, and you should definitely go check them out if you did not see Heather's Vlogmas videos. Totally worth your time. Watch them all. Question 9. BookTuber with over 1,000 subscribers that you love. Britta Bowler. Love Britta. Every time she posts a video, boom, right there on it. Just really like her vibe. And also PETA at Comfy Cozy Up. Again, like her vibe. And I also really loved PETA's videos that she posted during Vlogmas as well. Those were very well done, and they had like this nice little catchy intro, and yeah, they were good. So definitely check those out as well. And then the last question is to tag people. So if I mentioned you in this video and you want to do this tag, boom, you're tagged. So again, thank you to Karen and Mark for tagging me in this tag. Second tag I'm going to do is the reading retrospective tag, which again, I really was probably supposed to do at the end of 2020 or maybe the very beginning of 2021, but whatever, we're still in January, I'm going to say it counts. So the original tag was created by Pauline at Dancing Lawn, and I was tagged in this by Sandra at Pull Down the Moon. I will link both of their channels down below, and again, Sandra, thank you for tagging me in this. So everything I mention in this tag is all going to be stuff that I read last year because it's the reading retrospective tag. So question 1, which book did you read this year that you would recommend to anyone and why? So I would say of all the books that I read last year, the one that I would probably recommend to anyone would be Bread Givers by Anzia Yezierska. This is a book that was originally published in the 1920s, I think that's right. It is about a Jewish immigrant whose family comes over from the old country, Poland, somewhere like that, to New York, and she and her 3 sisters have to work and her mother also have to work to support their father, who is this religious scholar of Jewish law. And it's part coming of age story for the narrator, who is the youngest of these 4 daughters, and also, you know, part sort of immigrant finding her way in the United States, reconciling her old world culture with the new world of the United States kind of story. So I think it has a little something for everyone. It definitely has like that sense of the American dream about it. And I actually taught this in my Multicultural American Lit class in the fall semester, and my students really liked it. So I think if a bunch of like 19 and 20-year-olds like something, probably a good sign that it might be a good thing to give to just about anybody. Because this was not a major level class or anything. This is like one of the survey level classes that they just take to get a requirement out of the way. And then the other thing about it that I think might appeal to some people is that it's also in some ways a very feminist story about a woman rebelling against this very orthodox patriarchal culture that she comes from to, again, make her own way in the world. So I think it might appeal to more sort of liberal readers in that regard, whereas it might appeal to more conservative readers because of the whole sort of illustration of the American dream angle. So there you go. Number 2, which book did you read this year that taught you something new? So Begin Again James Baldwin's America and Its Urgent Lessons for Our Own by Eddie S. Glaude Jr. I learned a lot about James Baldwin's life that I did not previously know. And also Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race by Reni Eddo-Lodge, because I learned a ton about racism in the UK, which I knew basically nothing about before. So those two. Question 3, which book did you read this year that came at just the right time when you needed it? So, Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi. And this is a book that I think that if I had not read it so close to when George Floyd's murder occurred, I may not have given it 5 stars. I might have given it like 4 stars or 4.5 stars, but because that had just happened and because the ending of the book is the way that it is, without trying to give anything away about the ending of the book, I felt like that was definitely the right time for me to read it. And I just, I read it and I was like, oh my god, 5 stars, this is amazing. I mean, it's a great and amazing book anyway, but like I said, I think if I had not read it at just that particular time, I might have given it, 4 or 4.5 stars, but because I read it then, 5 stars. Question 4, which book did you read this year that will stay with you for a long time? So my favorite fiction book of this year, of 2020, which was The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro. Again, I'm still not sure. I'm completely over the emotion that I felt for Stephen. So I'm not sure I'm ever going to be over that. And the other book that I read in 2020 that I think will stay with me a long time is Why We're Polarized by Ezra Klein, because I learned a ton from that book. Question 5, which book did you read this year that expanded your reading horizons in terms of a new genre, author, theme, style, format, etc., etc.? So, one was, actually I have this right here on my shelf, Just Us, An American Conversation by Claudia Rankine, because Rankine uses this mixed media approach to her work. So this has mostly essays in it, but it also has a little bit of poetry. It also has a lot of pictures and images, graphs, charts, statistics, things like that. So it's a format that you don't often see in books. So I thought that was new and interesting. And I also thought Maaza Mengiste's The Shadow King kind of expanded my reading horizons, because it's structured differently from probably almost any other book I've ever read, because it interweaves all of these various facets. You mainly follow the story of Hirut, this Ethiopian girl who becomes enmeshed in the war that is caused by the Italian invasion of Ethiopia in 1935, but then you also get snippets of the story from the perspective of Haile Selassie, who flees to England. You also get parts of the story from a chorus of dead Ethiopian women. And then you also get parts of the story from the perspective of this Jewish-Italian photographer named Ettore, who is obviously working for the Italian side and taking pictures. But then you also have these sections that are just called photograph, and it's just like a description of a picture that Ettore took. So yeah, it just interweaves all of these various elements in a way that I had not seen done before, and I thought was very interesting and unique. Number 6, which bookish things did you particularly enjoy doing, purchasing, or using this year? So I would say for me, ebooks and audiobooks became particularly useful during the pandemic. And I'm still getting a lot of use out of ebooks, and I assume I'll still get some use out of audiobooks as well. But yeah, those were particularly useful to me. Question 7, who are some booktubers, subscribers, or other bookish friends that you got to know better this year? So again, I joined BookTube in May of 2020, so everyone. And also thank you so much to everyone who watches my videos, subscribes to my channel, likes my videos, comments on them, etc., etc. I just really appreciate all of you, and I appreciate how sort of warmly I felt that I have been welcomed into BookTube. So thank you. Big thank you to everybody. Question 8. What BookTube videos did you particularly enjoy this year? So honestly, everyone I regularly follow on BookTube, if I watch and regularly comment on your videos, then I have enjoyed them. So there you go. Question 9. Did you discover a new all-time favorite book? So among my new all-time favorites are The Remains of the Day, that I already mentioned, by Kazuo Ishiguro, Just Us, An American Conversation by Claudia Rankine, and Whereas by Layli Long Soldier, which was my favorite volume of poetry in 2020. And question 10 is to tag some people, but I'm not going to tag anybody in this because, again, we're already in January, and I think I was really supposed to do this tag a little bit earlier. But if you have seen this tag and you have an interest in doing it, please feel free to consider yourself tagged. So again, Sandra, thank you for tagging me in this. Thank you all for watching. If you have thoughts about any of these books or booktubers who I've mentioned, please feel free to leave me a comment down below. I hope you're all staying healthy and well. I hope you're doing good reading whatever you're reading. And until next time, would it kill you to call your mother?